You're now tuned into the Cowboys podcast with a special guest. Mariella had some things she had to take care of, couldn't be around this week. So we reached into the bag of the friends and we got a friend of the show. Mr. Bluff City Cowboy, a.k.a. Marcus Jones, is in the building holding it down for us. How's it going, Marcus?
Good. What's up, fellas? Thank you for inviting me.
What a week. And it's only Tuesday. What's that?
It could have been on better terms that I'm on here, but
yeah, pretty rough up there in Seattle, which we knew going in that hey, this wasn't going to be an easy task facing the Hawks up there, and of course with that guy at wide receiver, at quarterback, Russell Wilson. Then we're going to get into that. Some of what's going on, Lewis. We want to let some people build up in here. Give it a like, give it a share. We're a little earlier than usual. Typically, we get on at 8. There's something called a presidential debate going on tonight, so we figured we'd jump ahead of that a little earlier. So for those that want to go and partake in that, it won't interfere with your program. So give it a like, give it a share. We're going to build it up in here. Before we get to that breakdown, we had some social media drama today, if you will, that some folks took and ran with. You hate to see a quote unquote insider, if you will, or local reporter in the area get something wrong and tweet it. You might need to think about that beforehand. But he ran with Clarence Hill ran with a tweet today. Spoony, you got that tweet on hand real quick?
Yes.
Real quick. Also, I see we got Beer's in the building. What's going on? Brian Double, always long time watcher of the show on here. Martinez is in the building. Saying what up, Stargate? What's going on? Give it a like, give it a share. So you got that. Also, we got the phone lines open up all show long. Give a call. We'll take your questions or your comments as we're going through. Feel free to jump on the horn. Go ahead, Spoon. What you got for me on that Hill?
So Clarence Hill Jr. this morning, he tweeted. He says, Jerry Jones said Dak Prescott not being to pull off the last play of the game against the Seattle Seahawks is the difference between he and Patrick Mahomes, or even Tony Romo. They could have pulled it off. Wow. Did I hear that correctly? That was from Hill right there. Terrible.
Yeah. And that's not what Jerry said, by the way.
No.
Yeah. Marcus, did you actually get the clip of what Jerry actually said?
I've seen several people post it, so I've read it a couple times.
Go ahead and run it for the people real quick. Welcome, Chris Wilshire. I see you in the building.
I don't have it in front of me, but basically he said that plays like Dak made when you can spin out of stuff and still make a play, that's stuff that he saw Tony Romo did. He was making a positive comparison. And I don't know what Clarence Hill heard, but completely opposite of what was actually said.
Yeah, and then, of course, once it was out there, we saw all social media just kind of go wild with it, run with it. Terrible look for Clarence Hill on that. Definitely should have made sure he got his. I mean, for somebody of his ilk, should definitely make sure he's got that right before he hits send. It's been all over different social media groups. I've seen Eagles fans run wild with it. And, at the end of the day, Jerry was actually praising Dak, and Clarence Hill turned it into a negative. And now here we are dealing with the cleanup. And, of course, we know those that are your average Joe fans, when you're at the bar on the weekends, going to hear, well, Jerry Jones ain't going to pay Dak now. He had to say about him. And, man, it's so my goodness. Oh, my goodness. It's so bad. And look at that. Hey, Brandon, they should. Yeah, I mean, man, Clarence, terrible on his part as a journalist. Go ahead, Spoon.
No, this ain't the first time it happened. I remember it happened a long time ago with Des Bryant, where in the locker room he stepped up to Clarence Hill. A couple of players had to hold him back, and he basically was saying, Clarence, I didn't say that, and you're lying. So how about I should lie on you that you call me something? That would have been nice, right? And so again, this is not the first time, and it's a shame and it's disgusting. Where these reporters they fiend for some answerings with certain questions, and you're gonna take it, and we twist some words. It goes back into something like Denzel Washington said. If you guys mind, hold on a second. I would like to play it. Right here.
Go ahead.
You do read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. What do you do? That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true anymore. So what a responsibility you all have to tell the truth, not just to be first, but to tell the truth. We live in a society now where it's just first. Who cares? Get it out there. We don't care who it hurts. We don't care who we destroy. We don't care if it's true. Just say it, sell it.
Mm-hmm.
In your practice, you'll get that, including BS.
Right. And that's it. I mean, including the BS. And at the end of the day, he'll should have at least came out at some point. And I haven't been on Twitter in the past 3 or 4 hours, or maybe he had. I know up until that point, Clarence had not come out and clarify his statements or say that he got it wrong or anything else. And I mean, at the end of the day, be transparent in what you're doing and come out and say, hey, look, I got this wrong. My fault, my bad, and rectify the situation. Obviously, I mean, as far as I can tell, that's not going to happen. A terrible look for Mr. Hill today. Now, beyond that, Jerry did have some other comments, though, that, I mean, kind of stirred the pot. Spoon. The one I'll let you run with the one that you love so much from Mr. Jerry.
Wait a minute. All right, right here.
While Spoon looks for that, let me say this.
Go ahead.
I made a tweet earlier. This is why people, fans in particular, need to follow guys like myself, follow guys like you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the national level, people like that just want to put a story out there just so they can get a like. Us as fans, we want to make sure everybody's informed on what's going on with the Cowboys. So for all you guys that are watching, I know you guys got great fans and knowledgeable fans. Keep sharing stuff like this, because if you want the real Cowboys news, this is where you're going to get it from. You're not going to get it from a Clarence Hill, or I don't want to say anybody else's name, but we'll stick with him.
Right.
But if you want a hot take or just something that's going to be clickbait, you go watch them. If you want to hear the real stuff, you come listen to Star Game, because this is where you're going to get it from.
Yeah, and look, and we put feet to the fire too, as far as players go and stuff like that. Whether they're good or not. Hey, we've eaten some crow. Hey, Dalton Schultz kind of made us eat some crow a couple of weeks ago. But we keep it even kill. It has to be even kill. Then you can't run with a bad narrative. And that's just a bad narrative. Even if he thought that he heard that way, he has to come back and come to the forefront and say, okay, look, I got this one wrong. On me, my bad. And that's yet to happen yet. So we'll see what happens. Spoon, you got that Jerry Jones comment that you love so much today? Go right ahead.
Oh yeah, I was in love with this one. He goes, this is from Mike Fisher. He goes, I'm aware that Thomas is out there, number one. Number two, I also am interested at this junction of improving this team right now.
Well, what does that mean?
I mean, for me, I'm like, well, you mentioned Earl Thomas right there.
Mm-hmm.
You say he's out there, and you're saying that you're interested in improving this team right now. And so, I mean, it's like Earl's right there. I mean, they turned down his workouts today with the Houston Texans. He's available. He passed. Yeah. Well, he took a regular outside physical, which turned out great. He's available. So I don't know. I mean, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like Jerry's still a little bit of a snake oil to me here. He knows. He's got the thumbprint. He knows the heartbeat. He knows people are talking about the safety position. They know in-house. And the hotbed word to say is Earl Thomas. We're not even talking about. And Tony Jefferson now, by the way, is on his way after working out and turning down a deal with Arizona. Is on his way to Indianapolis right now, which we're kind of getting to. We actually lost a player to Indianapolis today. We'll talk about here in a little bit. Any comments or questions during this broadcast, feel free to hit that number right there. We're going to get you on, and we'll take your calls during this as well. What do you think of that comment from Jerry today as well, Marcus?
Jerry being Jerry, honestly. I mean, he's not really giving us anything. Just giving us enough to keep us talking. I honestly feel like he wants to sign Earl. I feel like it's the people around him that are preventing it. Because that's a Jerry move to me.
Yes.
And Earl's here. I think
No, go ahead.
Brought up just so we can get to talking about it with Dallas, keep his name relevant. I still think it's a good match, and I don't care what anybody else says. If you talk about chemistry might be an issue, I don't see as bad an on-field chemistry as we saw Sunday if you bring Earl Thomas in. And one thing that stops off-the-field chemistry is winning and production. And I feel like if you bring him in and he helps changes that secondary and you start stacking wins, the off-the-field stuff won't be an issue. And you're only going to sign him to a one-year deal anyway, so you won't have to worry about him in the offseason unless you want to.
It's very true. And it's going to be my standpoint. You sign him to a one-year deal. What's the big issue? It's not going to be a guaranteed contract. If it goes left, you cut him, but you cut bait and move on. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst guy you brought in here to try to address the situation. There's a particular defensive end who's in MMA now that we signed, and we saw how that worked out, right? You know, and then of course we could talk about bringing in Terrell Owens or whatever the case may be. This team obviously needs a glaring hole. I talked, extensively. We got to call him now, and extensively about. I don't care if it's Earl, Eric Reed, a Tony Jefferson. You need somebody back there. Real quick, let's jump on this call real quick. Hey, state your name and where you're from.
My name's Chavis.
All right, where you from, Chavis?
PA, Pennsylvania, but I live in North Carolina.
That's what's up. What's going on? What you got for us, Scott?
Yeah, what I got for y'all is I think that Tyler Diaz should be the starting center and Bujo Looney the best guard.
Okay. Yeah. Looks good in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter when they made that move, kicking Zach Martin out to right tackle, right?
Nick, does he mean left guard or right guard?
He said left guard.
We ain't had that since Ron Larry. Had the opportunity to re-sign him and didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, now, and then, of course, appreciate the call, brother. And, of course, Ron Leary had some mixed results in Denver with the injury. We knew where the leg was and how much he got paid. Now, obviously, he is out there. There's something that maybe they could do. They did sign another offensive tackle today for what it's worth. There's another one. We signed with Smith from the Giants. We signed a former fifth-round pick. His name slips my mind right now from the Bears today. But, I mean, I think the proof is kind of in the pudding there as it pertains to the call. Man, look, you kick Zach Martin out. Tyler showed that he can play the center position, and you move Looney over. I think it's a valid thing. I think it worked very well. Your thoughts on maybe going with that format going forward? I'll start with you, Marcus.
Well, if we can get one of our tackles back, I would prefer us to replace the left guard. That's why I asked the question.
You're right.
Guard or right guard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're telling me we're getting Tyron back, we moving Brandon Knight to right tackle, we putting Looney at left guard to replace Connor Williams, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it stands right now, if this is the best we have to put up there, I'm okay with that because it looked really good. Brandon Knight I know he gave up a sack late in the game, so it stands out to the average fan who doesn't really pay attention to line play. But you take away that sack, Brandon Knight had an amazing game. Like, I can probably point out every touchdown that Dak threw or every deep pass was because Brandon Knight completely washed that end out and Dak had a clean pocket. That's something you didn't see prior to them making the line adjustments because it was a lot of pressure coming from that right side.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Greg Sessom was in the bill, said what's going on. Star Gang. Yeah, Riley, same thing I said. Eric Reed. I mean, sure, I'm on board with that. We need something back there. And to back off of Marcus's point there, I mean, as bad as the safety play is, Connor Williams is just as bad at guard. I'm sorry. It's just factual. I mean, we've tried this forever. I really had with the new coaching staff, I thought like we would actually see him get a chance to go play tackle, and we haven't seen it yet. Spoony, but how do you feel going forward? I mean, it looks bad for Leo Collins today. That's another point that we was going to get to on the social media and what was out there. They're talking about hip surgery. Could be. I mean, we got to start probably dealing with the idea he might not play this season. To be clear, with that being said, the makeshift that we did, are you okay? Would you like to see that moving forward, or what do you go sign a Ron Leary? What are you feeling here, Spoon?
I'm with Bluff. What he said makes a lot of sense. I just think it was a great adjustment for the game for Zach Martin to play tackle because one of the linemen, he was sick. He wasn't feeling good. But like I say, going forward, they've been pretty solid now. If Tyron Smith does come back, I would just concentrate more on the left guard spot. I would put Zach Martin back where he belongs. Start Tyler Battis at center, and then go with Looney at the left guard position, because that's the spot that's been killing us for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Right. So, like I said, the phone lines are open during this right here. We got through some of the social media stuff. Clarence Hill, clean that up, buddy. Jerry out here selling some snake oil, dropping the Earl Thomas on us. But let's get to the rooter to the tutor, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me say this before we move on from offensive line.
Go ahead.
That Terrence Steele story is a cop-out to me.
Well, hold on. It was, because there's been 2 spills there. I'm with you. Because it was, he had, first it was, and I caught this in 2 different releases. He had food poisoning and was throwing up and couldn't play. Then all of a sudden it turned into, he had the flu and lost 10 pounds. So, yeah, there's something there in that mix, Marcus, with you that doesn't add up.
And it never hit the injury report on Sunday morning, because you have to update the injury report if there's an injury to an active player, and it never came up. So either they're telling the truth and somebody's gonna get fined, or it's a lie,
or
make up for the stuck, and we need to make a replacement.
Yeah, I think maybe this is where they were just trying to protect the player a little bit.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. When I heard that, I was like, okay, this smells like they're trying to protect the player, and that's kind of where it is. But with that being said, Seahawks 38, Cowboys 31. Quickly, before we get down and break down everything that went on in the game, just your overall view and how you felt the game went, Spony.
I'll tell you right now, I wasn't angry. I was just more disappointed. I thought it. Listen, offense is scary. It's only going to get better. My guy Alden Smith, he is back in the NFL. Listen, comeback player of the year. I see it. He's the way he leads the league in sacks. That's one thing that we talked about before the season started. Watch out for Alden, and he is here. A couple of bright spots, great bright spots for him. Offensively, we're fine, but what I'm disappointed is that secondary. That has to bail out the Cowboys every game in a shootout.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, for a lot of these fans, listen, I'm not judging any fans. I respect everybody's opinion, but from where I come from watching sports, all right, everybody's accountable for the mistakes, not just the quarterback. At one point, the Cowboys did have the lead. It was 4th and 3. That was the time for the defense to step up and bail Dak out. I don't know where folks are getting that, where because we lost the game because Dak didn't play the last play of the game. Look at the penalties that happened before that last play that took him out of there. And on top of that, I mean, BJ put up a great point on Sunday where he came out and said missing the special teams, missing the field goals. Maybe that touchdown wasn't needed. Maybe a field goal would have been needed to win the game. It's things like that folks got to watch. The little things that mess up, the Cowboys do to mess up, hurts the drives, the decision making on what they want to do to win the game, and that's what happened in the game. I was just disappointed.
Marcus, overview for you.
I mean, Spooner broke it down perfectly. The only thing I can add to that is, with the secondary, I'm interested to see this week, was it personnel or was it coaching and scheme mistakes? Because guys were out of place often. So I don't know if the guys messed up or the scheme is messed up or the players are just not good. So I'm gonna hope that they correct the mistakes, because like McCarthy said, people shouldn't be that open that often, and we're gonna look at the film. So
right.
We look at the film and we figure out how to solve the problems, then I know whether or not it's the players. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And this is a great game to see that coming up. But I know we're still talking Seahawks.
Yeah, no doubt. I think for me, the positives is I saw in-game adjustments.
Yeah,
I definitely saw in-game adjustments with the offensive line. They can kind of give me this story of he was sick or he wasn't sick or he had the flu or what. look, they looked at it and said, look, we're getting killed. We got to move over. Not to mention, I think a lot of people forget Looney got hurt during the game as well. They got to see Tyler play center. Like, you know what? Tyler's okay. Let's move. Let's go ahead and move Looney back over this way. We can do something at tackle position. I think at this point, for sure, it should be Tyler's job going forward at center. I saw the defense as well. Look, yeah, we were getting ate up in the first half. I know we gave us some points late, but overall, we got coverage sacks. You know, we stayed in our lanes. We didn't let Russell run. Russell was sitting back there for 3, 4, 5 seconds, and those same max protect sending 2 guys out wasn't working anymore. So there was things within the game that happened that we haven't seen before with prior coaching sets, which, you know, hey, that's why out the gate I don't feel bad. It's not a loss where I feel like, okay, man, you know, there was just across the board, there's stuff, you know, that just we need to rip it up and try something different. I don't think it's really so much that. I really thought there was a lot of positives that can grow off of. Now, if we're talking late in the season, I'm feeling different about this loss. Right. Third game in and knowing the situation that we have, you know, I'm not calling it a moral victory. I don't really per se believe in moral victories, but I see things trending in the right direction somewhat. Now we got to see how this gets put together and goes forward. It's especially what Marcus said just there was, okay, scheme, players not knowing, personnel, let's see coming up this week how they react and how they respond, and that'll kind of put another piece into this puzzle. With that being said, just kind of run down the stats real quick. We know Dak had a monster game. I'm seeing maybe the recipe of success of having him throw the ball 57 times, but 37 to 57 for 472, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Obviously, the interception at the end, you had to put it in the end zone. What are you going to do? Time was running out on you. He also had 6 carries for 26 yards. Probably the most concerning thing, Ezekiel Elliott, 14 for 34, 2.4 and a touchdown. Gallup, Mr. Gallup, MG in the building, 6 catches, 138 and a touchdown. Cedric Wilson, my guy Ced Wilson, who I told y'all was going to be the 4th wide receiver, showed up and showed out, man. 5 catches, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Amari Cooper, 9 for 86. CeeDee Lamb, not talked about. CeeDee Lamb might be hurt, guys. We'll kind of get into that too. 5 catches for 65. Schultz, 4 for 48. Zeke had 6 for 24. My God. Let me stop there before I get some more of these stats. These screen passes, man. And then Zeke had a couple of drops off the screens where he could have maybe done something with the ball. Zeke didn't have a good game. Some of that was on him. Some of that was offensive line. But the screen passes, what are we doing?
Next. The Seahawks probably have the best duo of linebackers in the league. When you don't see that shit is working, you stop doing it. KJ Wright was all over Zeke whenever he came to the backfield. He was glued to him. And I feel like Zeke was dropping the ball because at some point he was like, every time the ball coming to me, I know KJ Wright is within a footstep. So I got to try to find him and catch the ball at the same time. And there was a lot of concentration errors. So I wish they would have went away from that. Or
I was going to say, it was almost, let me ask you this, Marcus. To me, it was almost like, okay, Moore was kind of like, I know we tried to run Zeke, it's not working, but I want to get him involved, so let me keep trying these screens to keep him involved, and it was too much forcing it to him.
I would agree with that too, but I think they went away from the run too soon. I feel like they thought the pass was working because it was clearly.
Right.
And I didn't really see them run the ball after they made the offensive line adjustments. It was pretty much just shotgun and go. So it kind of went away from actually running the ball and not letting us see what it looked like on their right side with Looney and Martin blocking. Right.
Spoony, you feeling those screens?
Not at all. Not at all. And on top of that, I would have keep Tony Pollard do more work in that aspect because he's more elusive to me than Zeke is. And that's just it right there. They did it too many times, and it's like Bluff just said, KJ Wright was all over Zeke. Like, that was his boo. And it was like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm going to be on top of you 24/7. And it wouldn't work. I think the passing game was awesome. Continue to do that throughout the whole game. They couldn't stop us.
Right.
They couldn't stop us.
Right. Speaking of, even on top of that, your leading tackler, by the way, Trayvon Diggs, also with the huge play right? DK Metcalf not giving up on the play, punching the ball out so he doesn't score. And Trevon Diggs led the way with 9 tackles. Joe Thomas, 4 solos, 4 assists. Jalen Smith with the same. Alvin Smith, 4 tackles, 3 sacks. Thought he should have got a 0.5, but fair enough. They only gave him the 3. Woods, 3 tackles, 2 assists. Darian Thompson, oh my God, put him back on special teams. I never want to see him again. But 3 tackles and 1 assist as well. Now back to on the offensive side of the ball, and of course, the very last punt return, you kind of saw CeeDee Lamb get tackled in a little bit of an awkward way. Didn't play many plays after that, and wasn't on the field for the last drive either. I know they haven't really reported it, but the way they've been kind of reporting injuries anyways, I think he might have tweaked something. I hope this isn't something that goes long, but I definitely think he tweaked something on that. Did y'all see that punt?
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all watch the replay or anything on it? You think am I off base here? Do y'all think something happened?
It almost looked like his leg buckled before he got hit, to me, honestly. And more concerning.
Hopefully, I mean, he's not on the report yet. We'll find out some more come Wednesday when they release everything. Hopefully he's not. And man, boy, Brian, I mean, you already know we've been screaming it. Donovan Wilson, it can't be worse. Here's my thing with the defense, guys. Here's my thing with the defense. My thing with the defense is if it's going to be bad, they'll let the young guys play.
Yep.
Let's see what they got. Donovan Wilson, Nelvin Gallimore, Bradley Anae, your guy Francis Bernard. Let them play. If it's going to be bad, let the rooks play and let's see what we got because it's not working there. Go ahead, Spoon.
No, hey, if that doesn't work, how about this? Do an Invincible movie part 2 where Jerry Jones has a battle for fans to come in there and try out safety. I know somebody in Cowboy Nation can still play some safety or something because you're just leaving the guy out there for what? And my thing is this. Okay, we're not there in the building. We're not there at the practice. Yeah. We're not there. But guess what? We're watching just as they are. And you mean to tell me you are satisfied with what you've seen? And here's the thing. Sometimes guys don't do well in practice, but during game day, they do fine. So just put them out there. Let's see. I'll tell you one thing. We've heard more about Donovan Wilson in college football than anything about Thompson at Boise State. And I'll say this right now. Yes, even though it's college football, but guess what? One's a better player, in my opinion. This guy's been in the practice squad for 3 straight seasons. Cannot get back on the field. His best year was with the Giants, his rookie year. It's time. It's time. Listen, the safety position. Listen, I may have my first child and call him safety. That's how bad I keep saying this name. The same thing. Safety, 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 safety. Jerry Jones, you want to get it now? Do it. Do something. I want to see Thompson replaced. That tells me you making a move.
Yeah, I mean, and Mario's taking the words out of my mouth, and we said this on the post game. Spoon, I said this to you on the post game. You can't tell me Clinton Dix was this bad. I don't buy it, Marcus. I don't buy it, Marcus. You buying that was as bad as Thompson?
No, he couldn't have been, because Thompson playing horrible.
Bull, man. My goodness, they kind of covered up Thompson week 2. And we saw Worley kind of play there. So now, obviously, we lost some cornerbacks, so we saw more Thompson in week 3, and it just wasn't good. Let me flip the side of the ball. Russell Wilson, 27-40, 315, 5 touchdowns. Carson, 14 carries, 64 yards. Russell, 6 carries for 22 yards. Did a pretty good job containing him, obviously. DK Metcalf, we was all worried about him, 4 for 110 and a touchdown. Lockett, though, getting just 3 different blown coverages on Lockett. Ends up with 9 catches, 100 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then, defensively, you got Shaquille Griffin with the 1 interception. Ryan Nell, the interception at the end. The Griffin interception obviously was a swing there right before they had to end up getting a touchdown. Obviously we don't want to blame. And bet you got KJ Wright being glued to Zeke, 7 tackles and 3 assists. Absolutely. Now, I don't get into blaming the refs. I always just want consistency from refs. And, 2 things that I definitely want to talk about when it comes to that was the illegal contact from Jalen Smith, and then he took 4 steps, stepped out. They kind of gave him that call. Well, then we kind of got towards the end of the game. Michael Gallup kind of got illegal contact and forced out of bounds, and we didn't get the same flag there. Never mind. And then the only other one is Zeke literally gets tackled with this automatic 15-yard penalty, and it's right there. It's close. The line judge is there, and he doesn't throw the flag. Those were the three calls to me where I'm like, man, just consistency from the Zebras would have been nice. Spoon, I know you were losing it on that Zeke helmet tackle. Spoon hit me immediately. How is there not a flag on the inbox? I'm like, bro, I don't know. I don't know.
God. It's like these refs, man. Listen, I'm not trying to blame the refs for all the games that we lose, but it's key calls that they could take the momentum away. And again, twisted his neck. You know, you want to call, little tick for tack stuff. That was something to look at, and they didn't do that. You know, it's but they want to highlight the Tristan Hill tackle. But meanwhile, the CeeDee Lamb thing, they want to look at that as well. And on top of that, that same very tackle with Tristan Hill happened to Dak Prescott week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Greg Sosemore's in my ear because I was about to ask y'all this. The Tristan Hill on the roll-up, what y'all think about that? Now, we know there's been some – we remember Sean Lee getting lit up against Seattle. I mean, we know about the former wide receiver, Allen Hurts, and what happened with him in the playoff game against Celtics. But doesn't excuse what Tristan did in my book. Did y'all think what Tristan did was a little extra, a little dirty, or was it just within the game he was just twisting and playing?
I try to give players the benefit of the doubt on being dirty unless they've shown it in the past. He's a young guy. He tried to make a tackle, make sure he's down. If I see it again, I have an issue with it, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt right now.
Spoonie, dirty or just in the flow of the game, you think?
In the flow of the game. When you call somebody dirty, when you see something consistent happen in each game, like in the Ndamukong Suh
right.
a long time ago, and you step on somebody's leg or things like that, you don't see that. Tristan Hill just trying to make a name for himself. The guy's playing lights out right now. He's playing hard. And, sometimes the way you tackle, you could cause a mistake. We see teammates do it on each other by accident. It just happens. He's not a dirty player,
Right.
Now, if you see instances like that in every other game, then okay,
maybe something else. Yeah. And I kind of with Marcus. I think it was, you don't like to see it. I know Marcus Spears jumped out there with the tweet calling it BS, whatnot. But to me, he hasn't had a history of it yet in the league. Obviously he's really just getting playing time this year, unlike last year. And I'm with Marcus on this one. At the end of the day, if we see a trend of this, then we can talk. Otherwise, I think this was just something. Juices were flowing. He made the tackle. He was rolling over, making sure he was down. Because you definitely don't want the opposite. Well, he thought he had him down and let him go, didn't twist, and all of a sudden Carson's up and goes for another 10. And he didn't finish the play. It's kind of one of those catch-22s, right? Benefit of the doubt for now. If he continues to do it, then there'll be a different conversation for later. Now, the third – go ahead. Seattle
used to have training things where they taught people to do that. Like they own clips where they would show that when they grab a guy, they wrap up and roll to make sure they're down. That was like a norm for them.
Right. Now the third phase of the game that I definitely want to get to, special freaking teams. And I told you, look, and I said this in the pregame last week on the Cowboys Report. I said special teams is going to get off the hook because watermelon kick, and they made that field goal and won the game. So they're going to get let off the hook. Well, you lost this week. Can't let them off the hook this week. You missed the extra point. You got an extra point block, which in turn made you go for 2, which you didn't get the 2-point conversion. On top of trying to catch the ball, fumbling it, stumbling around, getting tackled on the 1, gives up a safety, which I didn't see Zeke get touched, but not enough on the replay, I guess, for them to overturn the safety. Special teams. So, you're talking that's 4-5 points we're talking about there, because if you don't miss the other 2 extra points, they probably don't go for 2. Right, so that's 3 plus the safety. That's 5 points special teams gave up, 38-35. And then there at the end, maybe Dak doesn't think he has to make that throw into the end zone. I can sit down here, wait, and then we can kick the field goal and go into overtime.
Exactly. Did we lose Spony?
Yeah, Spoon's all right, but go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I don't. why are we still having these problems with kickers? Like, I thought Greg Zuerlein was supposed to solve. He's supposed to be our kicking savior.
Right.
Greg the leg come in and save the day, and we're missing extra points. That's crazy. We could have just kept what we had last year and saved $3 million.
I mean, better yet, yeah. I mean, just kept Cobra Kai, Mr. Sweep the leg. I mean, obviously this is Bones Fossil's guy. And we talked about this. Bones is a renowned special teams coach. They're supposed to be very, very, very good. And unfortunately, through the first 3 weeks, it's just not been very good special teams wise. It just hasn't. I mean, it's been subpar for the most part, whether it's the kicking. I mean, he misses one, okay, but then you allow a block on the same token. What are we doing with Pollard? Last week, 5 yards deep, he's getting the green light to bring it out. Now we're fumbling on the one. I mean, special teams has definitely not been very special. I mean, I put up and also went ahead and put up a list of our field position where we started. We never started past our 30-yard line. Never.
Right.
The entire game. And it's like, it's the same thing. Special teams not been very special so far. Spoonie, any comments about the special teams thus far this season, particularly this last game?
Listen, his name is Greg the Leg, right?
That's what they call it. Said he had an injury last year. He's good now.
I hope he lives up to the to his name, and that just makes him field goals, man. Again, we have no defense, so every little point counts during the game. We don't want to keep having to go for 2 points. Kick the field goal. Listen, I can understand missing a 60-yard field goal, but we're talking about a regular field goal for touchdown. You rate that to 30. Make the damn field goal. As far as Tony Pollard, listen, he made a bad mistake. However, hopefully they'll get to clear that up, and we'll see Tony Pollard get back at it and do what he need to do. Live up to the hype out of Memphis of returning kicks. That's
for me. I'm through with Pollard being the kick returner. Put Cedric Wilson back there, do something else. I think that's after 2 weeks of getting the green light and what happened. I think I'm pretty much over. Look, and I'm a big fan of Pollard. Want to get him the ball in there, but man, that's just pretty tough there. Now, yeah, and I will bring this up too. Boys talking about the drop pass, the end zone laser route by the tight end, and that was Schultz on the deep post, and he just didn't angle enough and give that angle, and that's probably a touchdown earlier in the game.
Okay.
But whenever you don't have your starter and you're going down a peg, those are kind of some of the things that you're going to run into with the backups. But again, 5 points that special teams costed us. On top of let me, and here's another one I'll throw out there real quick. I think we tried to fake a punt, guys, and they were ready for it, and it cost us 5 yards on a punt. And that was there was no other reason for them to take the 5-yard delay of game penalty. They came out there and lined up. Seattle came out in nickel. This is a late third quarter, I believe. Came nickel, ready for it because we're right around midfield, about the 45, 50, and then we just said, oh, well, guess not. So let's take this 5-yard penalty, get the right people out here, and then go ahead and punt the ball. Again, 2 weeks in, said miracle onside kick and field goal to win, or I guess I should say 3 weeks in because he missed a field goal week 1 as well. Special teams has not done much for us. We talked about this coming into the season. We were ranked 31st. It was like, well, man, we got Bones Fossil here. Only way we can go is up. Man, I think they have even a further amount of way to go than maybe even the defense does right now.
And I hate to go back another week, but I said this on my podcast. That was a terrible kick. That watermelon kick. Unless you have 5 idiots who don't understand special teams rules, any other team in the league would have dove on the ball and ended the game.
Well, here's the thing, though. They practiced that kick about 50 times leading up that week. They made sure it was to the Cowboys sideline, and you got to think the guys that are in the front aren't typically the guys that touch the ball. The other guys are kind of blocking, getting in the way, and letting the ball get to the guys behind them. And to me, it was like the third base in baseball. Sitting there, it's going to go foul. It's going to go foul. It's going to go foul. We're waiting for it to go foul, and it doesn't go foul. And to them, like, oh, it's not going to go 10 yards. It's not going to get 10 yards. And then magically, it hit 10 yards. You're like, oh, crap, and scrambled for it. So, we'll never truly know the ins and outs on that or how they were coached or not. But again, it lets him off the hook, but now bring him back to task and what's going on. And as always, guys, for the rest of the show, we're taking all calls, comments, questions. We'll get your comments up. You can call in as well if you want to. That definitely puts the Seattle game to rest for a little while longer. We'll get into this injury report. D-Law played, 21 snaps this week? Still dealing with a knee, I believe is where it's at. Right? I mean, they haven't said exactly what the issue is with the knee, but there's a knee issue there. Still dropped 10 pounds. He was sick. We don't know. Looney turned an ankle, came back, played some guard. CeeDee Lamb, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Looks like he kind of had an injury. We saw on the big pass to in the first half to Coop. Hurt the foot, maybe, left, came back, finished the game, played pretty well after that. I guess really the big news as it pertains to this injury stuff is Mr. Collins, right?
Yeah.
Spoony, were they talking surgery, Spoon? Is that what we're talking? What we're hearing now?
Yeah, they're saying surgery, but according to Mr. Jerry Jones, I don't know. The doctors don't know. Things of that nature, but it looks like it's surgery. I know it was said that he did have he was in a car accident before the season start. That's about it. From maybe there was something that happened that he got injured off of that. But yeah, the way it's looking like he may be shut down for the season. It's looking bad.
We're still talking Stinger on the other tackle. Marcus, hearing anything? Think he's going to get a chance to play this week? You think they're going to sit him against Cleveland and Tyron Smith? That is.
I read on somebody's Twitter today that they did try to give it a go this past Sunday with him, and that gives me some positive feelings that they may be able to get him out there this Sunday. We've been pretty fortunate the past 2 weeks. We haven't gone against any elite pass rushers, but this week we got Myles Garrett coming in.
One's coming.
Definitely need all hands on deck on their left side for this guy because this kid is special. So Brandon Knight's been looking good the past 2 weeks, but if he starts this week, he's gonna get a real test, and that one kind of concerns me.
Right, and I just watched. I was watching the game earlier that day. Myles Garrett, sack, strip, fumble, recovery, causing some havoc in the background. I mean, obviously we did face Aaron Donald. He kind of moved around, so a little bit more of the interior presence than so on the edge. Myles Garrett is that guy, like you said. And hey, look, and I think a lot of people forget as it pertains to Cleveland, Sheldon Richardson's having a hell of a season so far at defensive tackle for them. So they got two dogs coming.
Mm-hmm.
They got
Can't wait.
Yeah. What do we got on cornerbacks? Cheeto's gone for a while. Brown's gone for a while. So that's going to be pretty much status quo. We got to roll with what we got. I did see. Wow, we did get a guy from Tulsa that we drafted, guys. Maybe time to see him get some burns because, man, I'll tell you what, Jordan Lewis. Look, I like Jordan Lewis on the outside. I know they're not going to play him on the outside because he's short. Man, he is getting cooked, honey roasted in the slot, man.
That's why I said in the beginning of the season when folks kept on saying Jordan Lewis, he's not a slot corner. He's an outside corner. That's what he does best. And here's the problem that I don't understand. You be going off a hype. I mean, damn, what happened to the guys like Aaron Glenn, who's 5'9", and shut down Plaxico Burrell, who's 6'5"? This height stuff, no, go with who the better player is. If Jordan Lewis got long arms, if he can stick with a guy and be a pest, you put that guy there.
Yeah.
No, he's too short. Come on.
I don't like it. I don't like it either, Spoon.
Mark
Anthony City waits not to ask. It says, I want to know what the deal is with McGovern, Donovan Wilson, Pollard on the offense. We play badass Cedric and Noah and got good production. Play these guys and find out. And Mark, and on the post game, I pretty much said it on the post game. Connor McGovern must be a bust. That's just where I'm at with it. I know he was hurt last season. This season, he's got the full off season as much as you could during the COVID. We went through training camp and everything else, and he isn't getting any burns. So the only thing that tells me is he's a bust. He was a waste of a third-round pick at this point. I wish I knew what the deal was with Connor McGovern. Nobody talks about him, really said about him, and he doesn't get any burns. As you know, Mark, you've been listening for a long time. Donovan Wilson, we would love to give him a chance. Pollard, I don't know. Pollard may be in the doghouse. I mean, last week he got the first 2 carries out the gate, ended up fumbling. He got a chance to return all the kicks last week. This week he gets a chance to return one. He fumbles it, gets out to the 1, or even maybe not even the 1, ends up in the safety. So Pollard might be in the doghouse a little bit now. But as far as McGovern and Donovan Wilson, man, yeah, even Reggie Robinson II. I mean, if we're going to be bad, and as I said earlier in the show, I know you just got here because usually we're on later, play Bradley and A. Play Francis Bernard. Play Gallimore. I think Gallimore's got something like 10 or 11 snaps so far this season. Marcus, what you think?
Well, I can kind of understand the whole Reggie Robinson thing. He's a young guy. They moved him to a new position. You don't want to put him out there until he's ready to make that transition. So I get that one. But Donovan Wilson, come on. We got to see something with him. Francis Bernard, I've been saying this since the day he was drafted. He stepped on the team and was the best cover linebacker we have. Let's take Jalen off the field on 3rd downs when it's obvious passes and let Francis Bernard get out there and do some covering because he clearly can't do any worse than Jalen's been looking on 3rd downs. And Connor McGovern, like Mark said, when he was inactive week 1, and I believe it was somebody's shoe came off. I think it was maybe Connor Williams, and they brought Tyler B out to replace him for that one play. I was like, yeah, McGovern's got to be done because you don't have a guy like this who you think is going to be your future, and you bring in Tyler Biadasz, who's coming off an injury, who had no preseason, had no weight room work. You bring him in and make the other guy inactive. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah, Spoon. I know.
Yeah,
I talking about that safety. Go ahead.
Wait, sorry, say again.
I said, yeah, Donovan Wilson. I already know where you're going.
Listen, I don't know if it's because they don't want to put out Garrett guys back there, or I don't know what it is. This kid should have been playing since last year. I just don't know how well is Thompson doing in their eyes. How he's doing so well that he's taking away reps from guys that may be better than him. You just got to try them out. Sometimes you got to get your feet wet. I mean, we getting blown out already in that secondary. So what's it going to hurt? Put him out there. I'll be happy with seeing a young guy get into play versus the same veteran guy who's making the same mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And you know what? Mike McCarthy came out. You know what? I'll read it.
Okay. Go ahead, Spoon. Bring it on out, Spoon. Bring it on out. Bring it on out.
1 second.
And, of course, while he's bringing it up, guys, if you got any questions, comments, anything you want to do, man, go ahead and give us a call. We'll get you on there. We'll respond. Let the people respond and everything else. We'll be more than happy. The lines are wide open sitting here right next to me. Just let me know. But, yeah, I mean, again, it's 3 games. That's why I'm like, I'm not overly concerned. Look, even the Rams, they were getting mashed in Buffalo down 20-3 and came all the way back and took the lead against them, right? And then they were able to, the Bills were able to pull out the end. The Rams are a lot better this year than I think a lot of people thought they were going to be in the beginning of the season. We know what Russ and what that team was going to do up there in Seattle. So, and we played both of those teams toe-to-toe with a lot of injuries. So that's why I'm not overly concerned. Are there things to clean up and fix? Absolutely. Go ahead, Spoon. You got it ready?
Yeah. So Mike McCarthy on the Cowboys secondary. People aren't supposed to run wide open. That's what Mondays are for. We'll take a hard look at it. So then he had the interview on Monday. They asked him about the secondary. I'm comfortable with the guy I have now.
I guess he liked the film. Greg Sizemore checking in, say early thoughts is McCarthy the guy. It's 12 quarters. It's way too soon, Cowboys Nation, to be asking, is McCarthy the guy or whatever. I did say this, and I will stand by this. Sometimes within the flow of the game or whatever, we all kind of say things, and sometimes we got to think about it a little bit later, maybe backtrack. I will say this. I do think Mike McCarthy at a certain point, if things continue the same way on offense, and it's crazy to say we're putting up points and we're throwing for a ton of points, I do think Mike McCarthy might have to take over play calling duties from Kellen Moore. I don't really know. Like Kellen Moore, and I go back to the first 3 games of Kellen Moore, we saw all this movement and things that were happening, and then we kind of thought, okay, well, once we got to that Saints game last year, we said, okay, well, Jason implemented, right? And then now the rest of the year didn't really do that. We got to this season, we're seeing maybe one motion. Okay, you know what they're in, kind of go. And even Aaron Rodgers kind of said as well, McCarthy, not a big motion guy. Now, of course, that kind of goes against what McCarthy said as an analytics guy and whatever. And we can pull up the analytics of the teams that run pre-snap motion a bunch and how they win, and we can look at teams that don't and how they struggle. So there's something in between there. But as far as like if we're questioning where McCarthy's the guy or not right now, it's 12 quarters, guys. It's 12 quarters. I think we got to be easy and let the season play out and kind of go from there. When I see it on your tongue, go ahead.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'll say this. I know it's early, but I'll say this. I don't have an issue with the offense as much. You know why? Kellen Moore, this is the first time he's actually calling a play call. I know last year was up and down with him and Gary. 1 week he's calling the plays. 1 week we hear Gary is interfering with the playbook. He's doing it. This is his first time. But guess what? Dallas Cowboys number 1 on offense right now, right? They're number 1. Dak Prescott is the league leading passing, right? I don't have an issue with that. The offense keeps the team in the games. My problem with McCarthy is you're the head coach, buddy. You are part of the decision making. And my thing is there's issues back in that secondary. A head coach will come to his office in the morning and go, how do we address it? Especially a head coach who got a bad rep for his situation in Green Bay. So you're home a whole year. You should be hungry. Just like you said, I want it all, right? Well, if you want it all, right, McCarthy? I mean, don't get me wrong. We want to see you get it all. But this your decision making. We having a guy like Thompson back there and you're saying, well, he's good. And we're looking at it like, are you serious? That's your issue. So I do have a problem with Mike McCarthy as being in denial. And it tells me that word in denial makes me feel like Garrett. It's like if right now we're all part of the Scooby-Doo show, right? Okay, no matter the characters, we are in the mystery van. Right now, we want to find out who's making the decision. We take off McCarthy's mask and go. What do we see? It's Jason Garrett over again. Like, oh my God, it's you. That's the way it makes it seem. Your decision making. You are the head coach. No problem with the offense. It's your decision making, buddy.
Okay. And Marcus, go right ahead. Let you answer that as well.
I agree to an extent, Spoon, but the thing that I would say is this. Mike McCarthy put this staff together for a reason. He loves all the guys that he chose. And I feel like he's really leaning towards their expertise in what they say about the defensive side of the ball. Because remember, he's an offensive guy 100%. He's going to focus on the offense. He chose these guys to take care of the defense. So the real issue needs to be Mike Nolan, not McCarthy. Because if Nolan's going and looking at the film and saying, you know what, I think this is okay and we can work with it, Mike McCarthy's going to trust his judgment. Now, whether or not we agree that he should do that is a different story. But we need to be putting Nolan's feet to the fire right now because he's the one that's allowing this to be taking place. And then you throw in the fact that Everson Griffin has to be pretty much called out on social media before he says I'm going back to a 3-point stance. Stuff like that, it bothers me with Mike Nolan. Like,
right.
This guy make the adjustments that they all talked about they would make, specifically on the defensive side. We know Jalen can't cover. Let's get a linebacker in there to cover on third down, or let's not put Jalen in the situation where he's covering a tight end man-to-man.
Right.
Small stuff.
Right.
Don't run man on one side and zone on the other side. Don't do that. Stuff like we did it 3 times, and I think 2 of them went for touchdowns. We don't need to see stuff like that.
Right. For sure. You know, if Jalen's going to be on the field on third down and it's a passing situation, he needs to be coming this way, excuse me, this way, not backtracking and covering somebody. He needs to be coming forward and getting after the quarter. And still to this day, on 4th and 3 in the fourth quarter, you have to blitz, in my opinion. And we talk about Mike Nolan, like I was screaming blitz, and we just sat there with the 4, kind of did this combo zone thing. Who got ate up? Thompson, big shock. But yeah, but still early, on if he's the guy or not. It's 12 quarters in. Same thing with Nolan. Nolan's got to clean it up. I agree. I have had, I think Spoon actually said something about Mr. Edwards, that maybe he's eventually the defensive coordinator ends up here if they don't get this thing situated. But that's, again, all that's really early. A couple of roster moves we do need to talk about, obviously. We lost one of the guys today to the Indianapolis Colts. Rondell Carter actually got out of his contract, voided his contract and signed a deal to get over there to Indianapolis. And then, of course, we did bring in an offensive tackle as well. Man, sucks to lose Rondell Carter. I mean, he was highly coveted as an undrafted free agent. Obviously, good for him. I don't think he was ever going to get a chance. I mean, it'd have to take some more injuries for him to get a chance here. And Indy obviously is going to give him some chances. Real quick, was Jordan Mills, his offensive tackle that we brought in. I don't even know. Low key, I'm like, we brought in Smith as an offensive tackle. We're bringing another offensive tackle. To me, you should be bringing in a guard. I mean, you already had a chance to bring in Leary, and whatever reason that fell apart. I just don't really understand from my standpoint. Marcus, I'll start with you. Do we really need to bring in another tackle at this point?
Jordan Mills is an experienced tackle. He's started quite a bit in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that either tells me, one, we got some serious issues with Tyron, we got some serious issues with Steele, or they may make that move and put Lyle at left guard. I don't know if Jordan Mills is being brought in just to be a backup. He's a very experienced guy. I feel like in the next 3 weeks, we're going to really see another line shift, especially if they expect Lyle Collins to be out for the full season. So maybe we get Tyron back, you let Knight and this Mills guy compete for that right tackle spot. The other guy's the swing guy. You put Terrence Steele on ice because you kind of see he's not ready for the bright lights yet. I think that's kind of where they're headed with it.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely believe that Collins is going to have hip surgery and be out for the year. I think that's the next thing that's coming. I think it was a pipe dream. I thought maybe it's an opportunity for him to come back. I think after hearing about – once I hear hip surgery floating out there, to me, I'm like, okay, if it's floating out there now, to me, it's only a matter of time at this point that he's going to get that. You've been rehabbing, working on the side, all these things. Apparently, it's not gotten right. And I get it. We can talk about whether he was in shape or not in shape, but the hip ain't got nothing to do with that at this point. So I think he's out of here. And maybe you're right when it comes to Jordan Mills, and he's going to maybe take over that right tackle position. Cam Irving should be back here pretty soon as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Cam Irving, but I'm just saying there's a chance. I think Knight's done well enough to get the opportunity to play at right tackle. But again, we look at this interior, and this is where I'm like, okay, you brought in Jordan Mills, but we look at the interior. We're bad at center. We're bad at left guard. Forget bad at left guard. We are atrocious at left guard. Connor Williams is not it, period. And if they don't fit, I mean, there's at least 1 to 2 plays a game where that ball gets snapped and Connor Williams immediately is 4 or 5 yards in the backfield. Immediately, he's getting shoved. Go ahead, Marcus. You cut out.
Butt.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. I think Tyler showed enough. I think Tyler should go ahead. Let's go ahead and start the youth movement. I think let's get Tyler at center. And I mean, maybe that helps you with Looney going to one of the guard positions. But yeah, I mean, this offensive line is definitely at best makeshift with everything that's going on right now, or in flux, if you will. They keep adding tackles. I guess my only thing with Jordan Mills, and you're right about about what he's done in the league, but you just brought in Smith. So why did you bring in Smith just to come back and bring in Jordan Mills now? Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Spoony, the roster moves, Rondell Carter up out of here. We signed another tackle. What do you think?
I'm mad with that. I was very interested to see how he can do. Again, going back to the scouting report, he could play every position on the line. He was the highest paid undrafted free agent, but I don't blame him. He wants to play. He wants to go to the Colts, and
Hold on, real quick, Smooth. Rush, we did so low earlier tonight. Mary couldn't be here, so we got our guy Bluff City's in the building. Marcus D. Jones, and of course, we also the presidential debate's going on tonight, so we figured get a little ahead and let everybody that wants to see that as well. Go ahead, Spoon. Finish your thought.
Yeah. So again, I really wanted to see the young man play. I was very interested in him, and he was the highest pay undrafted free agent. A lot of teams wanted him, but he's eager to get in there and play this game, man. So I don't blame him for leaving and going to the Colts. But again, and I keep saying it. I understand we didn't have free preseason. The teams were rushed in for practice just to get the season going, but the coaches, you know what you have. You know what you have. I don't like the thing about I can't play this guy because he's young or he has no experience. When you have a guy in front of him who's playing like Kaka, you put the non-experience in there so he could gain the experience and get better. That's how you know what you have. So, even mentioning Donovan Wilson, we don't know what we have at safety now with Donovan Wilson until you play him. So, and here's the thing: a guy like Donovan Wilson, right, won't be re-signed by this team. Won't get a chance. He'll go somewhere else, and we watch him on ESPN highlights catching interceptions back and forth. We're like, oh my God, what happened? That's the reason. Play your guys. Play your guys.
Yeah, no doubt. But go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry.
Ask this question real quick because while you were talking, Spoonie, I just pulled it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys know we could protect 4 players every week, right?
Right.
The reason they were able to get him is because this was the first week we didn't protect him, and I pulled up the list to see who we actually protected. We protected Francis Bernard, Justin Hamilton, Stephen Parker, and Chris Westry. Why didn't we protect Carter?
Wait a minute.
I understand Bernard, but Justin Hamilton?
Yeah.
Bluff, I'm gonna get you mad, Bluff. I'm gonna get you upset with this one.
Oh, okay.
Now, the safety Carter, Stephen Carter, right? Now, he started before. Safety.
Yeah.
Got a couple of interceptions. Nice, decent highlights. What's the point of protecting somebody you're not going to play?
Good point.
Yeah.
That's beyond me. You mean to tell me we're going to protect a safety, right? Meanwhile, we got another safety who's a backup that we won't play, but we're going to protect him for a defensive lineman that we went nuts for. That makes no sense.
No sense.
Well, I think that Justin Hamilton's a little telling because Poe hasn't given us much this year, and it might not be too much longer till Poe gets the axe and they bring up Hamilton at that point. I think also too what we have to remember is sometimes these agents do moves as well, right? And this agent's getting calls, whatever, and this agent could have went to the Cowboys and said, "Hey, look, my guy's got an opportunity to go play. I appreciate it if y'all just go ahead, don't protect him this week so he can get up out of here and go play somewhere." And that stuff happens. And fair enough. But at the end of the day, depending on who this agent is tied to, different things like that, you might need a back scratch later, and he's not going to get on the field. The team might be like, "All right, but hey, we're going to do this for you and your guy. But remember us, later when we need something." And it might have been one of those kind of deals is what ended up happening there with Carter. I hate to see it happen, but if he wasn't going to get a chance to play here, it is what it is, and you got to move on from there. Lines are open as well, 903-399-1015. Give it a call. We'll get your comments or your questions on air. Let's go to this Browns preview. Sneaky game, guys, to me. Sneaky game. You got 2 stud running backs. You got a couple of stud wide receivers. You got a couple of stud defensive linemen, kind of things that we don't really want to see. Marcus, what you think about these Browns coming into AT&T Stadium this week?
I think it's going to be a great game. I feel like we pretty much proved the past 2 weeks we can put up 40 on anybody. I think we can start talking 40 burgers again because we get the line above average. Nobody can stop us. To me, I feel like Cleveland is going to give us a little bit more in terms of defensive front seven. we've seen some of the best at receiver. So Odell Beckham is a name to me right now. Same as Jarvis Landry. They don't scare me that much.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Baker Mayfield is gonna make some mistakes because that's what Baker Mayfield does.
He'll give you some candy.
Exactly. And on top of that, we've seen 3 great quarterbacks the past 3 weeks. This is our first average quarterback. So I feel like this is a good opportunity for a get-right game for our defense to let's get some of the other linemen involved in sacks, and let's get the secondary a little bit better in coverage. Because I have no problems with Diggs versus Odell Beckham. That doesn't scare me at all. Landry and Lewis, they're like the same guy on opposite sides of the ball to me. So I feel like for you guys who are in the comments who watch us on Wednesdays, you'll know I was screaming all Wednesday, Tyler Lockett is going to destroy us this game.
Mm-hmm.
And no, Brian was watching. He can back me up on this. I said Tyler Lockett was going to kill us because Jordan Lewis cannot run with those fast, shifty guys.
Mm-hmm.
Landry's not a fast, shifty guy. He's a physical route runner. And I feel like Lewis matches up well with him. So I feel like this is going to be that first game of the year where we come out and actually put our stamp on the game and we win by double digits.
Oh, Spoony, what you got on these Browns coming in?
Well, the for me on defensive side, 2 of the best players, well, not 2 of the best players, but Myles Garrett is playing. Defense, Denzel Ward, he went down. It's a cornerback. He went down with a groin injury on Sunday. So I'm not happy about it, excited, but it makes it a lot easier when your number 1 corner goes down. Greedy Williams, the draft at LSU, he's also may not play this Sunday. He's out. Olivier Vernon, who we know as one of the pass rushers, he may not play this Sunday. So they have a lot of issues on defense that we could take advantage of this game. And I agree with Bluff. I think we could go ham on them. Here's my issue. The one Odell Beckham Jr. scares me.
Okay.
The one thing that we've done well against Odell Beckham Jr. was having Wilcox at safety. I remember Odell Beckham Jr. got hit, and he came out and said that Wilcox always gave him an issue. I remember that hit. We don't have a safety. We don't have none. I'm going to say right now, I don't have faith in Woods nor Thompson. I really don't have faith in them. I do feel the Cowboys will win this game. But again, I think it's going to be one of those things where we'll come right back to here and be like, Jerry, please upgrade the secondary, please. I would have loved to have Cheeto, Anthony Brown, the full horse, because again, they have some weapons, and especially the run game. That's another thing. We're not good against the run, but they got their running back. So but again, I agree with Bluff. I think we will win this game.
Their offensive line.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, while true, but here's the thing: they got Hunt and they have Chubb. Okay, and just look, we know what the defensive front is for the Washington Redskins. It might not be good across the team in Washington. Might not be good across the board as a team, but we know about the front. And Chubb went for $126, I think, and a couple of touchdowns. Hunt had a good game too. And with them knowing, hey, this team can score a lot of points, the things that worry me is they're going to run the ball 40, 50 times to both of those guys and just chew the clock and keep decking them on the sideline. And we have to get off the field. To me, this is a big game for our defensive line, especially our defensive tackles. We have to stop the run first. I do agree. I'm not so scared of the passing game. I'm worried about they got a tight end over there that can go off, though. But I'm still of the mindset, if we're able to stop the run, I think this is where the offensive line gets to. We can get to Baker. Baker can give us a little bit of candy. But, again, the defensive tackles are going to step up and play big. And we know we haven't done well against the run. We did okay last week, but that's because they didn't have to run it a whole lot because they were airing that thing out over the top. And we kind of saw the Rams really took advantage of us in between the tackles running the ball. And their guys aren't these two guys. So that's what scares me about this game. I think this game is very much tighter than a lot of people are giving it, just off the fact of if they're able to control the clock and run the ball, I don't care what we can do on offense. You got to have the ball to be able to go out there and do it. The Rams kind of bled the clock on us, right? And I can kind of see the same kind of thing. I do think the Cowboys get the win here and get back to 500, but I think it's more of along the lines of like a 24-17, 21-17 kind of game. Because, again, until they can show me they can consistently stop this run and stop them from playing ball control on us, I'm not going to buy into it until it starts happening. Now, if they're breaking up big-ass runs and scoring quickly, and then we're going to go back and answer, then this thing could get to a high-scoring affair. But, I think this might be a little bit of a ball control game. We're going to kind of go from there. I'm going to pick the Cowboys 24-17. I'm going to have the Cowboys winning. Okay. Spoony, what you got?
I'm going to go 35-28 Cowboys.
Mr. Jones, what you got?
Leaning 38-28 Cowboys.
38-28. Little high scoring. I mean, hey, if we get the ball, I definitely think we can. I think we can. Oh, our boy Tuck's in the building. Just say what's up, fam. Fam, what you got for the score, by the way, Sunday? Let me get some of the scores up here. I got Prime Peer Gang in the building, 40-35. Rush Turner, yeah, man. Hunt and Chubb, yeah. I mean, Hunt and Chubb, we got to definitely lock that down first and foremost. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. As Dode said, another high-scoring game. He's got a 40-35. Drop what you think the game of the score of the game is going to be down here. Go ahead, Marcus.
I was just going to say, I'm thinking that that Cleveland backfield is awesome. I don't want to take anything away from them. But I think we're getting a little bit of fool's gold with them.
Okay.
They're not as great as we think they are. Cincinnati is the worst run defense in the league, and they ate them alive. And the Redskins aren't really that strong up front. Their strength is at the end position in the pass rush. So I feel like they really took advantage of two very bad run defenses. So I expect them to have some success against us, but I don't think it's just going to be those two guys running all over us like they did the first 2 weeks.
I'll tell you this. This game right here, if we could, we should win this game. We win this game here. We got 3 home games straight.
Yeah.
Next 3 games at home. Browns, Giants, and Cardinals. I want to get this 2-0 before we play the Cardinals. That's going to be a tough one. Very tough one. So these next 2 games, we got to put it out there, be above 500, especially, the Giants. That's going to be something because of Jason Garrett, as a coordinator or whatever, and it's a division game. But if we can win this game right here, hey, we make it go on that rampage.
And we have to make it a shootout.
Yeah.
We have to make them put it in Baker Mayfield's hands. And I think we can, like Spoonie said, they got a lot of injuries in their secondary.
Yeah, a lot of injuries.
And if we can contain Myles Garrett, we're going to have some opportunities to put that thing out there and get some points on the board quickly.
Yeah, and that's kind of look, and this is what we know coming into this thing. While they went all these defensive ends and pass rushers and whatnot, at the end of the day, the game plan is for us to get up on people and force them to be one-dimensional and get after the quarterback. The problem is 3 weeks in, we just haven't been able to do that yet. Now, are we able to do that this week? I mean, I hope so, and we can kind of see that game plan come to fruition. But with that being said, you might need a safety to let that pass rush get there a little bit quicker. Just maybe. I'm just saying. But again, that's why I got it 24-17. They got to show me something to be able to get off the field with these running backs and what you call it. But this game is where we see if the new era is the same old. Take care of business. Absolutely, got to take care of business. Eric's in the building as well. What's going on as always? Brian Double says, the worst we go is 2-1, but I hope for 3-0. Yeah, 3-0. I mean, the Giants is a layup drill. There's no reason we shouldn't beat the Giants. Get past the Browns, should be 2-0. Hey, look, and even the Cardinals, they lost to the Lions this week. Now they got a hell of an air attack, and we'll kind of get to that whenever we get into that, right? But at the end of the day, let us get off to maybe a 14-3 lead, make them one-dimensional, and see if these guys can go get the quarterback at a higher clip.
Cardinals have one guy. That guy's unstoppable, but they have one guy. If he's not throwing to that one guy, Kyler Murray looks average.
Yeah, I mean,
But that one guy is awesome.
That's one. Yeah, I mean, Larry Fitz will still get open on you now. Don't just be like Larry Fitz can't get open. But neither here nor there. Let's not get too far down the line here. Right now we're just going to sit here and talk about these Browns a little bit more. All right, man. We got about 10, 15 minutes left. Any calls for questions or comments? You got the lines are open 903-399-1015. And we'll take everything that y'all got for us. Keep the comments coming over here. We'll get them up on the board as well. And as actually Cowboys fans only just checked in and said, Jay Tuck said, any word on Sean Lee return? Actually, I talked about it earlier today because technically he can come back. I haven't seen hide or hair if he's practicing, going to be on the board or what. So I'm going to go with he's not going to be playing this week.
I thought there was talk about 2 weeks ago that he may have a hernia surgery or something.
That's true. No, I thought he had hernia surgery, right? Yeah. So he's definitely going to be out a little bit longer then. Yeah. So no lead this week. Maybe we'll see Francis Bernard finally though. Maybe they'll call him up, huh, Spoon? I know that's what y'all guys for sure.
Yeah, that would definitely help out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, Spoon, I know you declined to have Spoonie's minute.
Oh, I'm good. What?
Okay. I mean, earlier today, I'm gonna tell y'all what, Cowboys Nation. I'm gonna tell you what, Cowboys Nation. Spoon was like, I'm done with Spoonie's minute. It don't matter no more. So, Spoon was pretty upset with the Earl Thomas news in Houston and whatnot. So, with that being said, Rush Turner said, "What's up with Collins?" Collins looks to be headed for hip surgery. Is the word. He's probably going to be out for the season. We'll have to wait and see, but doesn't look good for Collins at all, by the way. But Spoonie, you feel better. You smile. Look, Bluff City came on. Yeah, I think that puts you in a better mood a little bit.
Hey, Spoon, I heard the one 2 weeks ago. I'm still laughing. That was funny.
All right, Spoon. With no further ado, get your calls in. We'll still get you on. Spoonie's minute begins right now.
Well, I want to say this. McCarthy, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, us Cowboy Nation, we are not in the building. We are not there. We don't know what's going on in the office. We don't know if you're on the phone doing anything, but it's the actions you guys do. It's the things, it's the things that you say. When the Cowboys struggle and you guys come on the show, have your interviews, this is how you sound. A bunch of bullshit. Bunch of BS. Lies. You guys lie too much. I'd rather you say we're not doing anything but lie. You guys sell. And you want us to buy in. The only way we're going to buy in is wins, not loss. Not putting guys out there who are not playing well at all. That's the problem. Mike McCarthy. I mean, listen, you're from Green Bay. You are on America's team. You're on the spotlight. You say you want more. Act like it. Jerry, listen, Father Time. I mean, listen, it's been a very long time. We are used to the words. We are used to you saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. The old Jerry would do it. This Jerry's not doing it. You're talking a lot of caca. Stephen Jones, you are probably the worst general manager I've known in all of sports. Seriously.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow.
My thing is this.
Tough take.
You got a nice suit on. You in an expensive stadium, things of that nature. You represent a team that's probably a big brand. But when it comes to you doing the work out there, it's like you're a bargain shopper. It's like if you want to go to a party, you will go to Payless, buy some sneakers like Nikes, write a check on it just to get by. This is what you're doing with this team. You are scared to make moves. Everybody's saying you want to see the Cowboys win. It's been too long, 20-something years. Bluff, I may ask you, Bluff, where was you at when the Cowboys won the last Super Bowl?
I was probably 9 years old, so.
9 years old. 9 years old. Bluff is tired. Bluff want to see you win a championship. BJ, where was you at when the last time the Cowboys won a championship?
Oh, I'm a little bit older than Bluff. I was about 14.
14. Now, if you're 14, I was 12. So, damn, we were all babies.
Yeah.
We were pretty much all babies. Basically, we didn't bust our first nut until maybe a couple of months later. Seriously. Now, my thing is this. We want to bust our nut now while winning this championship. I mean, I'm 40. I know Biggs in his 40. Bluff, you're in your late 30s, right?
Yeah.
There you go. We all in the same position. We are tired. We are tired of the nonsense. This may go by with the new generation of Cowboy fans, but the older generation, no. We're tired. We're sick and tired. Make the moves. Actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. Jerry, you go out there and you say, I know Earl Thomas is out there, right? He's out there. I want to make moves now. I want to make this team better right now. Well, go ahead and do it, Jerry. Do it. This is your team. Your team, Jerry. This is not Mike McCarthy's team. This ain't Stephen Jones' team. And God forbid, my God, this became his team. Jesus Christ. We are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, not the Dallas Cowboys, the laughing stock of the NFL or America's most funniest video. Get it going.
Indeed. As Rush Hunter just said, we was wet behind the ears the last
Hell
we won the first one. But now, by the time they won the third one, though, I wasn't wet behind the ears. Just want to put that out there. Neither here nor there.
I mean, but we come on.
I do want to bring this up. Gibson brought it up. Gibson, I said week one. After week one, I said signing. After week one, people said, oh, no, that was one game. I said, no. I've seen enough. He's been out the game for 5 years. He looked like the guy on the field that got the $100 million contract. Sign him. And since then, what's he doing, Spoon? Leading the league in sacks, right?
Leading the league in sacks.
Hey, you signed. Look, as soon after he got the third sack, I said, sign him before he gets to the sideline. By the time he gets to the sideline, have a contract, say, here you go, sign him. No, yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If they let Alden Smith get out of the building, I don't know. I might shave my beard. I don't know. I'm gonna lose my mind if they let Alden Smith get out of the building on everything.
You can check my tweets. I said it by halftime first game.
My goodness.
Did you
great first game, and it's looked great ever since.
Did you guys see the ovation he got on the sidelines from the coaches and the players? Just tapping him in the head. Like they know, like, damn, this dude he has been playing 5 years, and we've been here and we ain't doing nothing. And we're paid. We are paid. And and here's the thing. I hope this is not like no Robert Quinn situation where he come in here, rack up in sacks, and then go get his money and go to the Bears.
Yep. Or, I mean, any team. I don't care what team it is. Any team. Hey, man, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to find a way to keep that guy in-house, period. So, I mean, bro, it's, this won't be Knicks' moment or minute that Spoonie has. But, again, it's 12 quarters, guys. 12 quarters. We've seen some wild stuff within 12 quarters. I understand, from the Atlanta game and what happened to, the fumble and the weird stuff that kind of happened in that first half of the Seattle game. It's only 12 quarters. To remember, it's a new coaching staff. It's a new scheme. It's a lot of new pieces on defense. We didn't get your traditional COVID-19. We did not get our traditional preseason, off-season, OTAs, workouts, stuff like that. So I get it. It looks, and this kind of goes back to when we did the post-game show. It's like, I'm not even mad. I actually did another post-game show before our Spoonie with our guy Sid. Shout out to the guy Sid. And he had a couple of Seattle fans on. I'm like, I'm not even mad, really. Like, y'all should do this. Pete Carroll's in the building. Your offense is established, right? You are who you are. You know what you got and what's going on. So at the end of the day, I'm not upset of where we're headed. I think we're headed in the right direction in a lot of different ways. That's the overlaying view. I said, but always on these shows, we have to nitpick and break down certain aspects of what's happening. And I don't want Cowboys Nation or Stargate affiliates that are in here right now to think, any of us are supremely bagging on this team or thinking, we can't get to the ultimate goal. But we have to keep them in check or put their feet to the fire. Like, the Cowboys have tried over the past 2 seasons to go get a safety. Whether it was Minka, whether it was 2 different times with Jamal, okay. Even before Minka, they did try to make a trade with Seattle for Earl. And then once Earl got loose, they tried to sign him, but he ended up over here. So we the thing that drives us crazy, and we sure it drives y'all crazy as well, is the powers that be in house know they need a safety. They know that. And for whatever reason, they're not wanting to bring in the ET or whatever the case may be. I would have signed him yesterday. But I'm still on the mindset of Jefferson, Rashad Jones, as old as he is.
Yes.
Eric Reed.
Anything.
You know, you got to bring somebody in here. They need help back there. Carr's not it so far. You know, and Carr, I know they're trying to get him to play. Maybe it's a playing because he didn't have a long camp or anything. So, you know, maybe he's trying to go to the outside and, you know, a little bit of corner here, maybe a little safety here. They're trying to mix and match these pieces and try to get it going. I think we would have saw Worley more at safety than Thompson if it wasn't for the cornerback injuries. And we saw him play pretty good at safety against the Falcons at times, right? So there's some things that are happening. On the same token, I think it goes back to something that we talked about, Spoon, last season and definitely early this offseason. At a certain point as an organization, you have to put your chips and push them into the middle of the table. The offense is there. As bad as the offensive line and makeshift is, the offense is there. We know that. Now, we can nitpick about play calling and stuff like that, but overall, the offense is there. We know special teams has to get cleaned up. You're missing something on defense, and you could go get those rental pieces for this year to see what happens. Whether that be, and look, let me throw another name out there because it don't have to be just one guy. Okay, go get Earl. Go get Clay. Go add a couple of pieces to this defense to help it. We don't need them to hold. We don't need the 85 Bears defense or the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense of old or the Ravens and what they did whenever they won Super Bowls. We don't need that. Can our defense keep people 24 points and under? If we're able to keep them 24 points and under, this team is going to win more games than they lose. And you probably need to add a couple of pieces right now to do that, even though it's only been 12 quarters and we got a lot of injuries. If nothing else, you got to add something at safety because there's nobody on this team, in my opinion, that's going to be able to play well enough at safety to get us over the hump. And that, to me, would be the over-prevailing thing no matter what happens the rest of the year that would cost us once we get into a big moment.
Now, and let me say this, because you're talking about getting pieces, and I definitely agree with that. If we believe what the reports say, within the next 4 weeks, 1 month from now, we should be getting back at least 4 starters.
Sure.
We should be getting Tyron Smith. We should be getting back Anthony Brown. We should be getting back Chidobe Awuzie. We should be getting back Leighton Vander Esch. And we should be getting back Randy Gregory. So within the next month, this defense should look a lot different than it does right now because I feel like they can't take Jalen off the field because he's a name and he's kind of the leader. But if you bring a Vander Esch back and you know he's a better cover guy, then you can kind of make that excuse. Well, you know what? Let's rotate Jalen and Vander Esch to get him more acclimated back in the game.
Yeah.
And then you got like a Randy Gregory, which I'm looking forward to seeing a possible Gregory Smith on 4th down with a Everson inside or something like that. So it's some interesting stuff that could take place. And then, like you said, Worley was looking good back there. If we get one of our corners back, maybe we can transition Worley into one of those starting spots. So I don't like what I see now, but the sky's not completely falling.
Right.
100%. Look, 100%. Buff hit it. And listen, remember this, y'all? Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Haley.
Remember him? I mean, remember all the things about he's a troublemaker, X, Y, and Z, yada, yada in the third. Jerry was like, well, guess what? We'll take him, right? And look what happened. You see Randy Gregory? He may be an ugly baby, ugly baby, but he's our baby. Look at that. Listen, Earl Thomas is a rental piece. He's a rental piece. He's not the future. He's none of that. I don't know what's the issue going on and things like that, but Jerry, we've had worse. And on top of that, we have a lot of leaders on this team. A lot of guys that on this team that if Earl was to get out of place, it'll shut down. And on top of this, is after week, this is what we in week 3? No, we in week 4 right now coming in. Contract's not guaranteed. So if it doesn't work out, hey, you at least try it. But right now, the way it's going, listen, I think this team will be in the playoffs, in my opinion. I don't think any team in the division is better than us. But at the end of the day, not only do I want to get in the playoffs, I want to go all the way. This offense will be elite.
Yep.
Will be elite. I want to go all the way. So at the end of the day, to go all the way, especially when the teams that you think may be in the playoffs, you want to address that safety position. You want to address ASAP because guess what? BJ, what was that story about the middle of the field?
You got to protect it.
It's being real.
You got to protect
it. DK Metcalf and Lockett are not top 10 wide receivers. Respectfully, they're great tandem. They're all coming up. We will be facing way better receivers later on.
Yeah, I mean, and again, when it pertains to the middle of the field, and this is my, as I tell everyone, you look at Kansas City, they have a great defensive tackle. They have some decent middle linebackers who both used to play Hitchens stuff, played for us, and then they have a great safety back there in the Honey Badger, and drafted early in Justin Thornhill. Because if you look at it and you break it down as it pertains to the NFL, the teams that are successful don't throw the ball outside; they throw it in the middle of the field. Literally, last year, Patrick Mahomes had less than 50 passes to the outside. Look it up. If you don't believe me, that's fine. Go look it up. He had less than 50 passes to the outside. Everything's in between them hashes. And that's where teams win at. Good teams, that is. Whereas where they throw the ball at. You would look and see the teams that had the most throws to the outside of the hashes last year, and they're towards the bottom. We were one of them. You have to do something at safety. Look, and bringing Worley over there and whatnot, it can help. And he flashed a little bit, and it could help. But you got to have somebody. I mean, if you look at even at the teams that won Super Bowls when we were wet behind the ears, as our guy Rush said earlier, it was the Thomas Everetts, the James Washingtons, okay, the Darren Woodsons of the world. Yeah, you got to. I mean, it all comes together, but you got to go get a guy. And look, at this point, I think a Jefferson or Eric Reed could be that guy for us. But I mean, if Earl hasn't done enough off the field to see him be like, oh my God, like, oh, we can't bring him in. And I don't know what the situation is. I think they need to get over that and do that and say, hey, look, and whenever you do something like that and the team's kind of look around, it lets the rest of the team know, hey, these guys are serious. They're pushing the chips in. We got a chance to really make a run here because they look at the tape too and they know it and they're speaking on the same things. But I'm so tired of talking about safety. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to ask one more question about safety, a little future-proofing just a little bit. Do you think there's a possible trade scenario where they could add a piece? Do you think there's a piece out there that they could go and add, a la what they did with Amari Cooper? Is there a piece out there? We know they tried last year because they tried with Mika and they tried with Jamal. Do you think maybe their idea is we're not going to sign a guy? We're going to try to go trade for a guy. We're not going to do like we did before and let it get out there amongst the league. We're going to play it close to the vest to try to get this thing done. Do you think there's maybe a safety that they've targeted that they might want to go trade for? Just simple yes or no. Or if you want to expand, by all means, either or.
That's a tough question.
It is. It's down the pipe hole a little bit. I understand. I definitely understand. But as I'm thinking outside the box, and we kind of all know it, Ian, Jerry, and Steven say the same things that they know, and they even mention Earl Thomas. So it's not like they don't know. So if they're not bringing somebody in, I'm not going to sit here and just say they're just this dumb and naive to not bring it in. To me, it means there's something behind the scenes that has to be happening, in my opinion. Again, they tried for two different guys at the trade deadline last year. They kind of let it leak out, let it be known they were doing it, and it fell through. They've said as much about not playing it closer to the vest on these signings or whatever, and they felt that they got burnt on those deals. So maybe there's something in the pop on that they're trying to craft behind the scenes to make a trade. Now, I don't know about a guy that's disgruntled or is available. I haven't really went down that path, but in my head, it just kind of triggers me to what they said and everything to maybe they're looking to make a trade. Because even at the time, Cooper wasn't like disgruntled or they wanted to move on or anything. That just happened, right? And it's kind of one of the same things I'm looking at here is there a safety they can go get that maybe we're not thinking about?
Well,
I only got two names.
Go ahead, Bluff.
Okay.
And it's a hard situation because we just named some great safeties that are available right now.
It's very true. Very true.
You
didn't even name Demarius Randall. That's a
he's in Seattle right now.
He's
visiting
in
Seattle right now.
Okay, but that's another guy. So the talent is there in the free agent safety pool. The only two guys I can maybe see who would be available for trade are Marcus May for the Jets because they're just a train wreck. Their coach is probably going to be gone within the next 3 weeks, so I can see them breaking this thing down. I could see maybe the Reed kid from Houston.
Okay.
And another train wreck. They don't like to spend money either. They brought in Earl Thomas for a reason, so maybe they're not happy with him. And maybe like a Marcus Williams from the Saints because
my guy, took my guy.
That's my guy too.
Yeah, took my guy.
They don't have the money to pay him, and I think his rookie deal ends this year. So
yeah,
if I'm just thinking about safeties around the league who are young and we could possibly get that wouldn't break the bank this year, those are kind of three names that stick out. But I don't know. I really don't.
Spony?
For me, Marcus Williams was my guy. The only thing is, I'm like, with the Saints want to do it, knowing that they're in the NFC with the Cowboys, and later on I could bite them in the butt, in the playoffs, stuff like that. But I'm gonna give you another guy. I like Taylor Rapp from the Rams.
I don't think they're giving him up. I don't think they're gonna give him up though.
Yeah, because the other safety they have there, he's playing way more than Taylor Rapp. And at the end of the day, Taylor Rapp could play safety, corner. He's that versatile, and listen. We could have had what's his name? Oh my God, what's his name from the Chiefs?
Thornhill.
Yeah, Thornhill.
Yeah, we took
we took Hill, which I'm not mad. He was playing lights out, but that was the year I thought we would definitely get a safety. Listen, I don't know about the Raiders or Abrams, how they feel about him. He's getting nicked up back and forth, things of that nature. But they definitely got to go shop around. Maybe Sean Davis, out of Maryland. He's with Pittsburgh right now. Is he starting? He's not starting, right? So maybe look at that. Listen, you got guys who played the position and are better than Tom.
I'll give you a guy. I'm gonna give you a guy, and I'm gonna backdoor some of. And this is kind of what I was thinking. You got to look at teams that are about to start doing wholesale. They're about to fire a guy, and you can probably procure some pieces off of there. I'm gonna look at the Falcons. They got a safety over there, by the way.
Keanu.
They got a safety over there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can. They fire Quinn. Maybe you can say, "Hey, let's go and take Neil up off your hands real quick," and that would be a major boost to this defense immediately. So I think to me, I think it's this. I think they have positioned themselves to ride it out. I think this is what it is, and I think the Cowboys front office has positioned themselves. They're going to ride this thing out to the trade deadline. Because none of these guys are getting signed. Let's be clear real quick. None of these guys that we're talking about, Tony Jefferson had one visit, turned down an offer. He's got a second visit. Okay, fair enough, right? Randall's only getting a visit right now because Jamal Adams hurt the groin, right? Eric Reed's not getting a visit. Eric Thomas had a visit, COVID, something happened. We don't know. That fell apart down there. So these guys that we're talking about being available, doesn't really look like they have to pounce on them. They're not going anywhere. Maybe the Cowboys in the front office saying, let's let some of this play out. Let's see who makes a change. And then once a team maybe makes a change, okay, hey, can we get this guy up out you? Y'all want to sell? Y'all lost a couple more games? Y'all want to go ahead and wholesale for next year? We'll take something off your hands. Maybe that's the plan that they're doing with the front office right now. Because if they don't get a guy that way by the trade deadline, all right, let's go sign, put whatever name that's in there that's still available to come in here and help.
I mean, hey, BJ Bullock, I'm with that. If that is the plan to see what teams are going to be selling their plays off, for trade by the trade deadline, I'm with it. Because my thing, if you get a Keanu Neal, all right, and he's a young player, he could definitely be a future guy. That would definitely help out. And then if you don't get him, hey, maybe you just sign Earl still out there. You sign him. I would definitely take that. But at the end of the day, oh man. Listen, I remember last year with BJ, we was up like 2 a.m, refreshing. Cowboys and me. Cowboys, oh my God. Then Mickey gets traded. Now I'm like this, refreshing.
Yeah.
The light, I'm like, breaking news, where? So I'm hoping, something like that he visits, but you have to give you got to give them the trade. You got to give this
right. And think about it like this. We just talked about the next 3 games, right, guys? All winnable games. All winnable games with the current, as we're currently set.
Yeah.
All winnable. All right, you go 3-0. I mean, that's going to put you at 4-2, right? The trade deadline's right around the corner then. So you're not behind the 8 ball where you got to make a move right now. We have to, we have to put the whole picture together. I know sometimes we get caught up in the moment and really looking like, oh, we got to do now. And this guy's visiting. But again, if we look at the totality of the picture, it maybe change the view a little bit of, okay, they know these next 3 games we should be able to win them, especially the next 2, right? You should be able to win the next 2 games. And then we'll see about Arizona. They got that guy. They got that dude over there. And they got a quarterback that can move around some. But outside of that, we should win the next 2. And Arizona, for whatever reason, old NFC East folk, even when we were at the height, always a thorn in our side. Yeah. Always weird things happen whenever we go to Arizona for whatever reason. Block punts for us to lose, just weird stuff, right? But if you get through those 3 games, if you get those 3 games and you're sitting there at 4-2 and people are getting healthy, then you can evaluate and say, okay, look, do we need to pick up a guy? Or, hey, can we go get Marcus Mayen out there from the Jets? Yeah, Williams from New Orleans, they willing to sell them out. Okay, can we go get Neal over here? What can we look at and see what we can get right there? So maybe a little bit of extra knowledge for Cowboys. They should have hung around this long with us to maybe help them feel a little bit better about the safety position, maybe a little insight on what we can give. Marcus Jones, Bluff City, before we get out of here, what do you got for the people?
Let me say this, because I've been kind of watching the chat a little bit.
Okay.
When you talk about a trade, because I saw somebody put D-Law's name out there. You can't trade D-Law.
Not that contract.
You just restructured his contract. He's stuck here until 2022 at least.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play a game for us, he's still going to be on this roster.
Yeah.
Because it was $20 million just to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at a trade, and I was thinking about this because I saw it in the chat, there are maybe 3 names we could possibly get rid of who are still potential guys, who are still young guys.
Okay.
One is Williams, because offensive line play around the league is terrible, as much as we hate them.
Exactly.
Our trash would be someone else's treasure.
Yeah.
Just simple. If Tony Pollard's rubbing you the wrong way, you could possibly trade him off and get something because the talent's there, and we're not using him, and he definitely shouldn't be on special teams. Other than those 2, maybe a Joe Looney, but you wouldn't get much for him if you like Tyler Biadasz. Maybe Hunter McGovern, because nobody's seen what he is, and maybe somebody's still in love with what they saw 2 years ago in the draft.
Right.
So those 3 guys are the only guys who are tradable from this team.
Right? But now, Marcus, you know that when people be out there saying, "Well, you can trade Michael Gallup."
oh. After what we've been saying,
I'm like no, like Michael Gallup's not getting traded from this team. Stop. But there's people out there that will say it though. So yeah, no, I agree. I think those 3. I think the Connor Williams makes a lot of sense. I'm with you, Looney. I don't think he'll get much return. McGovern, maybe because somebody loved him, haven't seen him. Sometimes not being on the field gives you more value sometimes. And that might be something that you're talking about, especially hitting the nail on the head when it pertains to McGovern. But, obviously there's some – but, yeah, the idea of moving on from like a D-Law or trading a Tyron Smith, because I've seen those different things thrown out there before. It's not going to happen. You can't do it.
No.
Yeah,
and Keanu Neal is a free agent. I'm looking at it right now. He is a free agent next year. And, that would be – and Marcus May. Sign and trade. Trade and sign. Yeah. I mean, straight up, just trade for him, get him extended out real quick and handle business and not have to worry about it. For sure.
Something. Even if Drew Brees doesn't come back next year, I think the Saints are going to be like $40 million over the cap.
Oh, yeah, they bad.
No way they can sign May.
Right.
They may want to get off of him now and see what they can get for him.
Yeah, get something. Yeah, get you a pick, whatever. Hey, look, and they miss an offensive lineman too. So I mean, maybe send Connor in the 5th, get Marcus Williams, Connor in the 4th, even. Then go get Marcus Williams from him. I definitely would be down for that. Obviously, that was something that was kind of thought about beforehand. But again, I do believe there is a plan in place. I think whether it's Earl Thomas is always going to be in our mind just because he ran over the Cowboy. Come get me, the whole 9, or whatever the case may be. And I understand that. And look, and I definitely understand the thirst for safety because we've struck out not once but twice. I mean, when do we ever talk about Jerry trying to trade for somebody and striking out not once but twice? So we need it. We talked about it. We know it's a need. But again, maybe the long-term view is they're going to ride this thing, get these 3 wins, knock on wood. And at that point, pivot. Can we trade? If we can't pull a trade that they like, all right, well, then we'll go sign somebody if it's still that kind of an issue moving forward.
Hey,
I know this. No, and I know this. I never thought in a million years for the past few years I would talk about the safety position for the Dallas Cowboys as much as we have. Go ahead, Spoon.
No, not for that. And we still can be in play for Jamal Adams as a free agent next year. I'm just saying.
I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one. No, I'm not touching that.
We can still be. Hey, Seattle did it with Clowney. Didn't we sign him? And
yeah, but they didn't give up 2 firsts, a third, and a starting safety though. Spoon. He's going to be in Seattle for a while, sir. He'll be in Seattle for a while. Trust that. Yeah, I feel you. But with that being said, Mr. Jones, by all means, the floor is yours. Tell the people they can find you.
All right, guys, you can find me on Instagram, Bluff City Cowboys. You can find me on Twitter, Bluff Cowboys. I'm trying to change my YouTube name. So, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please go find me on YouTube so I can change my YouTube name to be Bluff City Cowboys. I'm at 70 subscribers right now. All I need is 30 clicks, and I can change my YouTube. Guys, please go out there. I'll be going live tomorrow with Lambo on the Cowboy Zone.
Yeah, so, shout out to Lambo.
There are a few names I see in your chats who I've seen on our show. So I know there's some great followers. So if you guys got a few minutes, come check us out tomorrow night at 8:30. And let's hope for another win this week. Keep the ball rolling.
Get back to 500. Spoonie, what you got for the people before we get out of here?
Oh no, listen, just be safe. Let's not lose faith on our Cowboys team. I know we want to get better. Bluff called it out, man. Listen, we're gonna have an elite offense. Hope just have some faith, even including myself. I gotta say, I gotta just be patient and let's see what happens at the safety position. I know I can be a little rowdy about it, but overall, God bless this football, family, friends football has always meant to me, and let's go Cowboys for week 4.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, as always, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, rocking with us, giving the likes, giving the shares. As always, if you're not in the group, please come join the group. We'll get you in there. Go like and follow the Star Gang page as well. And here's my YouTube plug as well. We're trying to build our YouTube up as we're live right now on YouTube and on Facebook. Star Gang Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Hit that sub, hit that notification bell. If you're on Twitter, rock with your guy, at your guy Nix, _guy_Nix. Come follow your guy on Twitter as well. Let's get these wins. I'm going to say it again. I'm a little nervous. I think the Browns have some of the right things. Don't overlook them. I got us 24-17. Let's make sure we can stop that run game. Go check out Bluff tomorrow, 8:30. 8:30 for sure. Get y'all for rocking with us. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.